Productions. This week on In the Doghouse, we interview one half of the Shooter Society, the Lionhearted, Chase Bennett, as we go over his career, his upcoming matches, and the history of the Shooter Society. 8 p.m. this Saturday night, February 22nd, 2025. Don't miss. Hello, everyone, and we are live and in the Doghouse. I want to give a big shout out to CapGo Championship Belts. Go to CapGo Championship Belts on Facebook and look up these guys. Abdul will hook you up. Abdul is the best. Also, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m., check out USW Justice, United States Wrestling Justice. Check it out. They've got something great going on. Old school style wrestling in a TV studio setup. USW every 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. Check it out. USW Wrestling Justice. And don't forget to go to Pro Wrestling Tees and get you a Referee T-Bone Jones t-shirt. We have Referee T-Bone Jones Production, Referee T-Bone Jones, and In the Doghouse t-shirts now. Now we're going to share this screen right here and we're going to pull up our guest real quick. Here he is. Welcome, welcome. One half of the Shooter Society, Chase Bennett. Welcome, sir. How you doing tonight?
Thank you. I'm doing fantastic, and I'm glad you're having me on here, man. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on. I'm a big fan. I love your work. I've been watching you for a while. You and Cory are tearing it up on the indies. Everywhere you go, you guys are ripping it up, and I love it, man. Keep doing your work, man. Keep doing it. You're going to be big, man. It's going to get bigger.
Thank you.
We're going to jump right into it, man. What got you interested in pro wrestling?
To be honest with you, it's something that I remember back when I was like maybe 4 years old. My grandfather, this tells you how long ago it was. They had the old floor model TVs, right? And the big TNT explosion would come on. And at the time, I remember seeing guys like Surfer Sting. This was way before The Crow. And I was like, these dudes look like modern day superheroes. Like they are gladiators. And that was like my earliest memories. And I remember watching the Monday Night Wars with my mom and dad. And it was just something that I was like, I think I could do that. And it was just something that I always gravitated towards. For me, when I was watching it, it didn't matter if I had a bad day at school on a Monday. I knew I could go home, watch wrestling. I looked forward to Fridays, getting off school, going home, watching some SmackDown. I remember, I think it was like in the summertime. It was like mid-noon, something like that. And I saw TNA with the 6-sided ring. And I was like, dude, that's different. That's cool. And I just kind of always thought the physicality, the athletic competition always kind of drove me because I'm an athlete at heart. I love to compete. So those were like things that I don't know what it was about it. Maybe it was the bright lights and the, bigger than life athletes involved. But I think that's really what kind of drove me to the sport.
Awesome, man. Awesome. How long have you been in the business? How long you been doing this? I know you've been doing it for a good minute, at least a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So I want to say right before COVID had hit, I had just finished up playing arena football, and I really enjoyed it. But I was like, I can only do that for so long, and the money wasn't great. And like I said, I've always been an athlete. I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. I've always carried myself like a professional. So I said, what is something that I could do? And I saw Chance Prophet, who, when I first saw him, I was a teenager in St. Albans sports complex, and he was wrestling for XMCW. And I was like, okay, I know this guy. I've seen this guy. I've seen him work. Obviously, I think we all start out as fans. and we just naturally gravitate to it. And I was like, well, I know how he wrestled. I was like, I think I could do that too. And I reached out to him, and surely enough, he had a school in Nitro at the time, and I shot him a message, got my tryout, went, did it. I think I did really good. Um, he had a loss in the family, and I hadn't heard back from him. I was like, oh, well, maybe I didn't do as good as I thought I did. And so I decided to reach back out to him, and he was like, "Hey, sorry, I've been going through this. Yeah, we're doing training on these days. Which ones can you be?" I was like, "I'll be at every training you need." And COVID had started, and the shutdown just immediately went rampant. And we were like doing promos over Zoom, and or maybe it was Google Meet. I can't remember, but we were doing promo classes, and I cut terrible promos then. I've gotten way better now, I think. But I remember, when we were able to have like small groups of like maybe 5 people in a room, we were masked up in the ring, doing blow up drills and things like that. And I want to say maybe, and I will say this, not everybody should do this. Within 3 months, I had my first match in front of a live audience at the Woody Numbers Memorial Show at the Appalachian Power Park.
Wow. That's sink or swim. That's sink or swim, brother. Wow. 3 months in?
Yes, sir. And ironically, in that same battle royal, I'll never forget, as the match started, the person to my left was none other than Cory Sparks.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. You guys have known each other since you started then. That's really good. And Chance Prophet, I got to work with him on certain APWA cards back when I first started in the business. Very nice gentleman. Very, very nice. Very professional too. Who do you consider to be the greatest of all time in professional wrestling?
Oh, man, that is probably the hardest question to answer, right?
All right.
Because,
Well, how about this? Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
and there can only be 4.
There can only be 4 out of any era, any time. The 4, your favorite 4 that you would put on Mount Rushmore.
Okay, my favorite 4. I'm gonna go Bryan Danielson.
I like that.
I don't know if I. No, I'm gonna. I'm gonna see if I can leave this one out, just because he was a phenomenal worker, but terrible human being. We'll go Kurt Angle, Malenko, and number 4, Chris Jericho.
And I think I know who you were talking about with the one. I know exactly who you were talking about because that's one of the ones I would put on mine regardless. I don't care. You gotta, in my opinion, you gotta look at that situation kind of like an OJ Simpson situation. OJ's in the NFL Hall of Fame. No matter
Okay.
what he did outside of that, you know what I mean? That shouldn't interfere with his career because he had a great career.
Oh yeah, he can.
Just you gotta separate the person and the character. The person did one thing, but that character was something else on TV.
Oh, the character, his intensity, it was always there. It was always believable. Every night you knew you were going to get the most physical match out of him, and it was going to be non
style. I was a big fan. I ain't afraid to say his name. I was a big Benoit fan. I still am. I still watch his work. I'm one of those conspiracy theorists out there. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm the conspiracy guy. I still don't believe he did it, but that's neither here nor there. We'll move on. Who was your inspiration growing up? Who was the one wrestler that you inspired to be like?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go all the way back to the first one that I saw that captivated me, and that was definitely Sting. I mean, look at it across multiple generations of or decades, right? Of people that he influenced. It was just something, I don't know what it was. I think at first it was the bright colors, right? I remember seeing him come out in the American flag jacket, the bright collars, all of that, and I was like, that's so cool. And then I saw the darker side, after the betrayal and everything, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I can get into this. I see the logic of why he, went a rogue in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this Sting gimmick all the way through. I like how he reinvented himself. To be honest, my favorite one, if you're talking the more recent stuff, I loved what he when he did the Joker stuff at TNA.
It was fascinating, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Like, it was good, and it was so outside of the norm that you're
yeah,
like, okay, this is him reinventing himself. It's so interesting. You don't know what to expect. Has he really lost his mind? Like, I loved it.
I did too. I thought he should have done more of that at AEW. I think they could have gotten a little bit more ratings after Cody left with him doing that. I think they could have hooked a little bit more people. But they're lost. um,
Matt kind of had that crazy thought process too, because like he was like, you know what? Here, let me just take this power bomb, and he just hulks up, and you're just like, this dude's 50, 60 years old. He shouldn't be doing this,
yeah,
but
like why? What's the thought process of jumping off of the stuff at the height he was at his age? What's the thought process behind that? I can't even jump off that stuff now because I shake like a dog shitting razor blades. Just getting on the second rope, let alone going to the top.
he was probably working us. He was like, I am crazy. Y'all just don't know it yet.
Yeah, yeah, like feeble and senile.
Uh, but hey, man, he was still putting out really good matches even in that time. Like, even the
Oh yeah.
cinematic in the warehouse, I thought was phenomenal.
I did too. I would love to have seen him doing more of those. Same way with The Undertaker and AJ Styles. They did a phenomenal job with that match too. I would have
Yeah, they
loved to have seen both of those guys do a cinematic match like that with Sting and The Undertaker. They should have done something like that with those two because they were limited. But with camera angles, smoke and mirrors, you could have got a hell of a match out of those two.
that's one of those things that I think is forever going to be a what if. Why didn't we get it? I mean, was it needed? I don't know, but was there a lot of people willing to pay to see it? Oh, you absolutely bet, dude. Night and day.
They,
There,
they could have
the,
charged an extra $50 for the pay per view, and people would have still paid for it.
oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt in my mind.
I'd have been interested in it. I don't care. They could come out now in their walkers, and I'd still pay for it.
Oh hell
I
yeah.
just want to see those two wrestle. Like we never got that. We deserved to see that. I don't know why they never did it. It would have been genius. It would have been genius.
It's probably going to be the biggest what if in pro wrestling
The
in the entire.
biggest, the biggest what if. That's the biggest. My wife says, "What's up, guys?" Sarah Jones in the chat.
Mrs. Jones.
um, Next one. What would you like to see the Shooter Society accomplish this year in 2025?
Um, that's a good one. So, me and Cory, when all this started for me, he has about a year's more experience than me. We trained together. We've had numerous matches against each other. He's the one person in this world that when we're in that ring, I know what his brain is thinking. And he's become my best friend in that way. We've had a lot of success. We went once we started tagging together, we went like 2 years undefeated together. Um, if you ask me, I'm going to be honest with you. We want, and we've said and we've talked about it. It's not written down on paper, but we want the APW tag team titles, and we want those brand new Mega Pro tag team titles.
I hear that. I hear that. I know I'm going to be there for the mega tag team title match. Hopefully, I'll get to referee that one. I'm very interested in that one. I one of the tag team champions at Mega. I trained with him when I first broke into the business, and we just recently had him on the show.
Yeah, I saw that.
Awesome. What, William? I see you peeking in. You want to say hi? Come say hi real quick.
Come on.
Hi.
Come tell the people.
This is
Hey,
William.
buddy.
This is the little stud. Say hi.
Hi.
This is
William,
Chase
you want to
Bennett.
join the side? You want to be a young shooter?
Do you hear him?
No,
He didn't hear you.
He's snagging out.
William, you join the Shooter Society, buddy?
You want to join
We'll
the
get
Shooter Society? That's his tag team. You want to join them? You're going to go to the Mega Show. You want to hang out with them at the Mega Show?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Hey, what size shirt does William wear?
I think
Extra large.
extra large, he says. He's a chunky monkey.
I'll get him. He's a
extra
shooter.
large in boys, I should say. Let me refresh.
I got you. I'll have it.
He's going to get you a shirt. What do you think of that?
Mm.
Awesome. You made his night. All right, let me go finish interviewing him, okay? You say good night.
Good night.
Night, bud.
He was peeking in. He always peeks in on most of my lives when he's here and not at grandma's. He always peeks in. My wife is asking, I am curious to know, are there any moves you would like to learn like to learn that you like but don't know yet? Any moves you want to learn that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
That's tough. I'm a big student of the game, so there's a lot that I know. I just don't always do because I feel like if I show you every move that I do, you know what's going to happen. And I like to keep people on their toes. So it's something I used to try, but I never could land it without face planting 450.
Oh,
I always
awesome. That's a big move.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot of guys, 215, 230 hitting it around here. So I'm like, if I hit it, it's got to look impressive.
That is impressive. That is. And my wife said make that shirt a medium and an adult because he is a chunky monkey. I love him to death. He is.
Hey, if I could make a kid's day by giving them a shirt, I'm peeling back the curtain a little bit. I remember being a teenager or a preteen, 10, 12 years old, going to indie shows. And, if I was standing ringside and I got somebody, to slap my hand, I know how it made me feel. So if there's ever a time I get a chance to do that for somebody else and just give them that moment of suspension of disbelief, by all means, I'm going to go that route for them and make their day any way I can, inside and outside the ring.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. We need more guys out there like you, brother. All you guys out there on the indies, listen to this man right here. He's got good pointers for you. You got to make the fans happy. That's who's paying to come see you. You got to leave them happy one way or another. Good man, sir. Total pro. What does it feel like being the number one contender in Mega for the heavyweight title, which is held by the Get Bundles, and the tag team titles, which is held by Dark Clouds? What's that feel like, man? You're the number one contender in both areas, singles and tag.
I'm trying not to let the feel good moment get to me. I've wrestled to get for the Mega World title just a couple weeks ago, and things didn't go my favor. And when I think about Mega as a whole, it was really the first place that gave me an opportunity to showcase who I was and what I could be and what I was going to do. For that, I will always have a love for Mega. I've been the loyal dog. I've put in the work. 2024, top prospect winner. It was a one-day tournament. I didn't think anybody probably thought I was going to win it, but I went out and I said, rain, sleet, snow, hell, it don't matter. Chase Bennett's going to outwork everybody. to be a world champion, it hasn't happened yet. And I've worked so hard at it that it's not a matter of if anymore. It's just a matter of when. As far as the tag team goes, between the Shooter Society and the Dark Clouds, there's no love lost there. They've done some underhanded tactics to us, and then say, hey, it's just business, or they're not trying to undercut us, but it's starting to really look like it. And, it's just a matter of time before we get our opportunity to lock horns with those guys again. I mean, if you look at their careers, tenured, successful, and for the Shooter Society to really see how good we can be, they are our measuring stick right now. And I want to say that the gap isn't as far as probably the Dark Clouds think it is, but only time will tell.
Awesome. I am very interested in both matches. I want to see you get a good clean shot at the heavyweight title, and I want to be there when you guys go at it for the tag titles. I'd love to be a referee in either match. I'm gonna throw my name out there and ask Coop if maybe I can referee one of those matches, or if not both. But I want to be there for all those. I am going to let the cat out of the bag right now that I'm going to probably be a main referee at Mega from here on out. I'm going to try my best to make every show I can from here on out.
Hold on, I don't think you understand, T-Bone Jones. This is breaking news you're hitting us with.
Yes,
You're
sir.
saying referee TJ, right? T-Bones Jones is about to be the senior official at Mega.
I'm going to be a mainstay. I'm not going to say I'm a senior official or anything. I out of the guys working there right now, I do believe I have the most years put in. I'm coming up on 12.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
An official.
I've been off and on because of health problems, surgeries, and whatnot. I've been off and on, but March 23rd, 2013 was my very first night in professional wrestling.
He said, and you never look back.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I'm hooked. I've been hooked since little kid. I remember sitting in a car seat watching wrestling with my grandpa. So I've been a fan forever, and I'll always be a fan, and I'm thankful to be a referee. My wife wants to know, what is your biggest accomplishment in wrestling so far? What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment?
I'm trying to be as humble as possible. I have in the past maybe 2 years really taken off and really made this dream a reality. I've been fortunate enough to be APW television champion on television with Joe Brody at American Pro Wrestling. I've won his tag titles. That was a big deal. I want to say maybe my biggest accomplishment hasn't happened yet. But I think if I could put a timestamp on it, I would say I got to wrestle one of the men that trained me, Jason the Gift Kincaid, and it might have been a 20-30 minute match in Wayne County, I do believe. And it was what I felt an instant classic. There was action from beginning to end. And I felt like there was nothing more important than me than going out there with somebody of that, caliber of talent and showing that juice.
Absolutely. I know Jason too. I do. I know Jason too. I worked with him at APWA back in the day too. So, yeah, very nice gentleman. Very nice. You're taking me down memory lane mentioning these guys like Jason Kincaid and Chance Prophet and stuff like. I'm like, wow, I'm taking back. These guys. I know the small world, brother. Small world.
Another one. I mean, I guess this one was kind of a big deal for me. My first title I ever won was the APW television title, and I got to wrestle the Cuban Assassin for it. And I can tell you, every match that I had with that man, I got better and I learned so much. We did a show in, I do believe it was Meadowbridge, in front of 200 or 300 people. And I'm telling you, I've never had that many people behind me. But when I tell you they booed that man out the building.
Yeah, they believe it sometimes. Like it's hook, line, and sinker with certain people. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's one thing too. Like, I'm gonna peel behind the curtain a little bit myself. A lot of people, like certain people I talk to, like they view the sport a certain way. You know what I'm saying? The F word that we don't really say. Uh, and I tell everybody, you got to view wrestling as like a live action movie done in one take, or you got to view it as Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare, back when he did the plays, when he did those plays, he had where you could see all the way around all the way around the stage. What is wrestling? You see all the way around the stage. We're in the center of the
Absolutely.
building, center of the room, doing our thing. So we're Shakespeare at his finest. We're the last living, breathing existence of Shakespeare, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I always tell people, regardless if you can't afford to go see like a WWE or an AEW product, go support indie wrestling, right? These are all people with the same aspirations as those people at those larger companies. It is the best form of blue collar entertainment, and it's something that you can take your family to. That your kids can create memories that can last a lifetime. And who's to say by having them there, it's not influencing the next generation of professional wrestling?
Absolutely. And we want to keep them coming. We want to keep the next generation coming. That's my next question. What advice would you offer any young talent coming up right now in this business? What advice would you offer?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would probably say be a student of the game, right? Don't just watch wrestling that you like. Watch wrestling from every era, every genre, from every part of the world, right? There's a reason why tape trading was super popular when it was. It was super popular when it was. And that's where some of like the early 2000s indie stuff, back, watch All Japan. You can go back and watch all these different companies that you may not have learned about and see those styles and the influence and the thought process. Be a student of the game. Understand. Don't necessarily get so hung up on the moves. Think about the reaction, right? Because professional wrestling is multiple car crashes in a show. It's the emotional attachment that you get within each car crash, essentially, that really hooks the people, and gets that suspension of disbelief.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You couldn't have worded better. Couldn't have worded better. My wife said she wants to know what has been your biggest obstacle in wrestling so far.
Uh Biggest obstacle so far, I would probably say taking the time and living the moment. You're given such an amazing platform of you take these people on these emotional roller coasters, and they get so invested that you're just worried about keeping them there, but you're not necessarily living in that moment and enjoying it for like, okay, I got you now, let me savor the moment. I think that's probably been my biggest obstacle, but I've gotten a lot better at it.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, who would you like to compete against that you haven't yet? Who is the one wrestler you'd like to wrestle that you haven't yet?
Can we go unsigned and signed talent?
It doesn't matter anywhere. Who's the number one person that Chase Bennett wants to wrestle?
Oh man, whew, that's tough. Let's see. I would probably say on a bucket
It
list,
can even be a tag team. It can even be a tag team.
the Kentucky Gentlemen,
Jockey
yeah,
Gentleman.
tag team, and then as singles, I want the guy that trained me. I want Chance Profit.
You want Chance Profit. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, promoters out there, make this happen. Chance Profit, Chase Bennett, man. That'd be awesome. I'd pay to see that. I'd buy a
Oh
ticket.
yeah, it's the student versus teacher. I haven't seen him in a couple years, and I just feel like I want to see where do I measure up against somebody that I grew up watching, and somebody that I have a high amount of respect for, and just as a teenager admired.
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to let you tell these beautiful people where they can see you at next.
Okay. So let's see. This coming Thursday, you can see me in Bradley, West Virginia at American Pro Wrestling. You can also find it on, let's see, rumble.com/American Pro Wrestling. This Saturday, this Saturday and Sunday, you can find me in Mount Airy, North Carolina at the AIWF Anniversary Show. Night 1. From what I understand, I face none other than the notorious To Get Bundles. Night, I know me and Cory's tag teaming. I don't know against who at the moment, but that's not our problem. That's theirs. Let's see. I have a big match coming up in Fayetteville for American Pro Wrestling. It is the Shooter Society versus the Appalachian Express for the APW tag team titles as well.
Wow.
I have some dates lined up with TWA, Top Notch Wrestling Alliance. Let's see who else. SCW, Southern Championship Wrestling from Ohio. Love them. Let's see. Oh, and this one is I guess it's a scoop. I plan on returning to Virginia for NICW National Independent Championship Wrestling as well.
Awesome, man. You're going to be everywhere, dude. Your book's solid. You're going to be everywhere. Everybody get out, go see the Shooter Society, go see Chase Bennett. He is going to be kicking ass all over the East Coast here, it seems like. Is there anything you want to leave these fans with? Because I'm all out of questions and there isn't anybody asking anymore other than my wife. So is there anything you want to leave the fans with? And I won't take up any more of your time.
To the people that have supported Chase Bennett, supported Cory Sparks, thank you so very much. You know, we started off two dumb kids who absolutely hated each other and have formed a brotherhood and a bond in the society. For anybody that believed in Chase Bennett, I just want to take the time and absolutely thank you to anybody listening in the Doghouse with the Lionheart and T Bones Jones, right? I want to thank you so much. And if I had to sign off, it would probably be something like this. When you're good, you tell people you're good. When you're great, some people's going to tell you you're great. But when you're the absolute best, they don't call you the absolute best. They just call you Chase Bennett.
And I'm T-Bone, and we're out.
Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Mega Pro Wrestling.